Gosh, I haven't spoken much about this house on the channel, Jean-Paul Gaultier. Who's a fan of this house? So I was excited about this fragrance release when I first heard about it, because I'm always excited about Parfum editions of existing fragrances. And this is a classic dating back to the mid-90s. So it's been around for 25 plus years. I think it could even be 94, maybe 94 to 96, somewhere around. I didn't double check the date. But this is Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Male, Le Parfum 2020 launch. I just got my hands on it. I could only pick up a 75 ml, I think this is. But you know what? I'm enjoying the smell. It's a great smell, and it's totally different than the original. And I'm going to tell you about the differences between the two. So if you're curious to learn about this one, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. That's right, I don't speak about Jean-Paul Gaultier as a fragrance house on the channel much, if at all. I've included this fragrance in a few videos here and there, but I rarely have any reviews on these fragrances or any of its flankers. In fact, I rarely spoke about the this house on the previous channel as well. But I was a fan of this in the mid-90s when it was first launched, dating back to like 94, 95, 96, somewhere around there. But this bottle I picked up last year smells very different. Actually, I shouldn't say smells very different. I should say acts very different than what I remember wearing when I first was wearing this back in the mid-90s. So the reformulations have left it a little bit of a broken up. When I wear the fragrance, nothing really stands out too much. It's like a muted experience, a little clunky and not smooth. Does that make sense to you guys? But I was really anticipating this one, and now that it's here, I'm enjoying the smell, and I'll tell you all about this. But before I do, if this is your first time tuning into my channel and you still haven't subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So please let me know who's a fan of this house and their fragrances, male or female, but you know, most of you guys are male watching this video probably. Do you have the flankers? Do you have the original and its multiple flankers up until this? Let me know, put some comments down. I've sampled some of their flankers. They even launched one last year with the same perfumer, which I really hated the smell of, but this was a blind buy. I can't go smell it here anywhere because I don't even think this has had an official launch here, if at all, if we're going to have a launch here in the States yet. So I ordered it blind, and I'm actually happy with the way it smells. So it's a 2020 launch. The perfumers are Nathalie, Gracia-Cetto, and Quentin Bisch. So it's two perfumers. I would consider this an Oriental spicy aromatic fragrance. It is Parfum concentration, and Parfum concentration means that it's the highest concentration of perfume oils you can have in a perfume. So it's going to be more concentrated, it's going to be more intense, and it should smell great. It should. Typically, not all the time. Here it does. At least for me it does. What do we have for notes here? In the top you have cardamom. In the heart, lavender and iris. Base notes, vanilla, oriental notes, and woodsy notes. So, of course, I was excited when I received the bottle. I opened it up, but I got to smell it. I'm really curious as to what they've done, because not only have they made the bottle beautiful, dark bottle. I really like the bottle. It's a very, very famous bottle. It's been, like I said, around since the 90s, mid-90s. And I smelled it and I was like, this smells great. It's a really, really wonderful fragrance. So I immediately looked up the notes, because what I was smelling was something oriental, vanillic or resinous or balsamic with spices. So basically what's running the show with this fragrance is the cardamom. It's very, very spicy and aromatic, but I feel like it's nicely meshed with the vanilla. Now they mentioned oriental notes as notes. So oriental notes could mean anything like resins, like benzoin. It could be myrrh. It could be frankincense. I don't get frankincense with this. And other notes, it could be balsams, perhaps, maybe Tolu, some Peru balsam, anything resinous and balsamic. It could be ambers, it could be labdanum, things like that. Because there is this kind of a resinous, balsamic, sweet touch under there. To me, oriental notes could mean like, those sweeter notes of the resins and balsams. I do pick that up. But for me, this just screams loudly with cardamom. Cardamom is a great note. I really love it. And in comparison to this, cardamom was present here. But what was more present here for me was the vanilla, the mint, the lavender, and cinnamon. Those were what was really running the show here. I smell no mint here whatsoever. Now when you actually have smelled cardamom out of a jar, the seeds, the pods, there is a light mintiness, so you do pick something like that up, but in the end they don't credit mint, and I don't really pick mint too much, if at all. But the cardamom is really big, and it's in your face, spicy. Great smell. A great start to the fragrance as well. It's pungent, and I love that pungent cardamom smell. But I feel like in addition to the cardamom, the vanilla is so strong, the lavender is so strong, that those are creeping in and blending with the top notes of cardamom, which is what they credit is basically running at the top. So lots of spices, lots of aromatic notes, and lots of vanilla, sweet, gourmand Oriental notes, basically. So as a style, I feel like Oriental Spicy is the perfect style for this fragrance. And iris does come in. It is powdery, but not as powdery as something like the original, which now it's not as powdery as it used to be. And also, if you guys remember Fleur de Mal, which was a fabulous fragrance, a very powdery neroli or orange blossom fragrance, which I wish I had a bottle, which I don't. That was ultra powdery. But this is powdery, but it's almost like the powder. I'm going to get to some negatives about this fragrance, and I'll explain that part about it. But as I said, lavender comes in along with the iris, which gives it powdery touches, but what the base is really doing here is the vanilla and the oriental notes of resins and balsams, which is also very, very ambery, along with the woodsy notes, is basically what it's drying down to. And as I said, I do get, like, maybe I get benzoin. It is kind of on the sweet side. It's very, very resinous. Do I get any Tolu or Peru balsam? It could be, but I don't think it's that. I don't think it's those notes. And so to me, it feels like a fusion of vanilla and resinous benzoin note. But what do I get with the woodsy notes? I think it's a combination of cedar and some other notes. I don't get much sandalwood with this one, and now we're going to lead to the negative about the fragrance. As a smell, I really, really love the way this fragrance smells. It's a great smell. It's a great designer fragrance smell. Very, very classy. There's also the sexiness about it. It's just really great. It's a oriental spicy fragrance, and the combination of the vanilla with the cardamom is top-notch sexy. But what I don't like about this fragrance is that it's not loud. It doesn't really act like Parfum. I'm going to compare it to Dior Homme Parfum, which is over the top amazing. This, it smells great. It just doesn't act like something as excellent as Dior Homme Parfum. I'm comparing it to it because they're both the same concentrations. This is Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Mail Le Parfum. That is Dior Homme Parfum. Similar concentrations, but for me, the overall smell is great here. The performance and the wearing of the fragrance does not wear as great as Dior Homme Parfum. I mean, I'm comparing it to that fragrance because that is the fragrance I look up to. If they can make a fragrance like that all the time, I'd be happy. Here, they've done a great job with the smell, and they've also done a great job, done a great job with the wearing and the experience of the fragrance itself. For me, I find the powderiness of this with the iris almost broken up. It's almost like this fragrance where at one time it used to be nice and smooth and powdery. Now I feel it's clunky. And in here I find a little bit of a clunkiness. It doesn't wear smooth. It's not like syrup. It's just broken up like chunks, or that's why I say it's a little clunky. Those are my negatives about it. And also it becomes a skin scent pretty fast. It doesn't have a lot of like cloud, the presence of a cloud, which we were talking about yesterday as a designer of fragrance, sexy trail fragrances. In the end, it's a sexy fragrance, but I feel like the cloud disappears too fast and it becomes too much of a skin scent really, really fast, which is disappointing as a fragrance, especially if I'm buying a fragrance that's called Parfum. I want to get that experience. Now, I've heard people say parfums are closer to the skin, they are more subdued, they don't project as much and all that kind of stuff. But then again, I have Dior Homme Parfum, And is that an exception to the rule? Because that fragrance screams really loud. It's got great projection. It has all of this really massive cloud with it. So you can break those rules, but maybe this one relies on the rule that it doesn't really scream. But that's not usually the case. What am I trying to say with this fragrance? I wish it performed just like Dior and Parfum in its experience, the wearing experience. It really does not. So it does fall flat, but as a smell, I feel like it's fantastic. It smells great. I love the way it smells. I love the intensity of the vanilla. I love the intensity of the cardamom. And I also love the, you know, the dry down of the woodsy notes and the lavender together. But when it comes to powderiness, it doesn't really act like a powdery fragrance because it acts more clunky. It's like a little bit of a broken up. If you have powder and you throw it up and you're seeing it kind of like float in air, and this is like chunks falling down, kind of is what I'm experiencing with the wearing of this fragrance. So in the end, I like it. I like the way it smells, but I just think the performance of this fragrance and the wearing of the fragrance is not top notch. So it was a blind buy, which is fine. I ordered it from the UK, which is fine. I'm happy I have it. I love the bottle. I'm impressed with the smell. I just wish they gave me a top-notch, you know, top-notch fragrance in all the different sides of the fragrance, because you can have a great smelling fragrance but have bad performance, which typically happens. But even the wearing experience to me doesn't act 100% top-notch. Everybody has different experience with fragrances, and I'm enjoying this fragrance as far as the smell goes. Just those are the negatives of the performance and the wearability. You might have a completely different experience. You might not like the smell, but it works you know, great as a wearing experience. For me, that's how I experience the fragrance. Now, one other thing I want to mention with this fragrance is the price. I don't know the price here because it doesn't have an official release. As I said, I ordered mine from the UK and I received it pretty fast, blind buy, and I'm happy with it. I would have ordered a larger size. I'm going to see if there is an official release here in the States. I'll pick up a large size and then I'll gift the little one to a relative or something. But what do you guys think? Do you guys compare these two and you see similarities? Do you think that this to you feels like definitely an offspring of this, that it utilizes some of the notes that are in here, but in the end it's a brand new fragrance with its own unique you know, creation? Let me know. Originally this was created by Francis Kurkdjian, but this currently is created by Nathalie Gracia-Cetto and Quentin Bisch. And if you don't know Quentin Bisch, he's been around, I mean, I know both of these perfumers have created tons of great fragrances, but Quentin Bisch has lots of great fragrances in the designer's world and also in the niche world. So he's doing some good stuff, and I'm happy this came out with as far as the smell goes. The previous version, I'm drawing a blank. I was never a fan of all the flankers of this house, so I didn't memorize what the previous version was. But last year around summer, August or September, they launched another fragrance in this collection with a clear glass, a chiseled you know, torso and body. I'm drawing a blank, but that fragrance, I smelled it and it was like a disappointment. Here, at least as a smell, it's a great smell, you know? For me, packaging is great because it draws me in. Smell is great because I love smells. For me, mostly it's about smells. If it's a disappointing wearing experience, then I can still buy a fragrance because I love the way it smells. Because for me, once I'm drawn in, all that's left is the smell. If I like the smell and I want to keep smelling that, then I will end up buying a bottle. But this falls flat a little bit because of the wearing and the performance of the fragrance. So that's what I think about this fragrance. What do you guys think about this fragrance? Do you like it? If you haven't sampled it yet, are you anticipating this fragrance? Please let me know, put a comment down so I can find out. And also, are you fans of the original? Do you have a bottle and all its flankers that came afterwards? Let me know, put some comments down so I can find out. Thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments for anything, including this fragrance or any other thing, please put it down. Other than that, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.